So, Dad, welcome back to the last chapter of Paul Hayler COVID-19 interview. So, we've had great fun doing this, but this time I turned it over to everybody else to ask us questions. But first of all, before we get down to that, tell us a little bit, Dad, about how you felt moving from Essex to Yorkshire.
Yeah, it was a big decision, and obviously it was a bit took a lot of thought and apprehension at one point. But we sat down and thought, well, Bobby and I come up here every month teaching, and where we were, we couldn't expand. We had sort of building around us. We got fed up with the M25, travelling all the time, and a 5-minute journey down south takes about an hour, whereas up here, 5-minute journey is a 5-minute journey. And we just felt that it was time to sort of move. I wanted, another few more years of riding, and so I needed to, have the opportunity to do that. And we just thought that it's great atmosphere up here, and it was great fun, and it's a beautiful, county, and we just thought, well, let's go for it.
I have to admit, not doing that M25 nearly every day is an excitement when we get to go out for a drive.
It's heaven, isn't it? It's heaven.
So, from my side of the thing as well, I think it was a great thing that we've moved up here. I absolutely love it, and I love the Yorkshire timescale.
Yeah.
Everybody takes their time, and it's brilliant. I mean, it took some learning, especially with Mother. She struggled to slow everything down a little bit, but now as a family, we've really got to understand how it works, and we're loving meeting new people and developing ourselves and also our business as well, alongside being able to have more space now to have competition liveries in and owners and horses for us to ride.
Yeah, it's great sort of meeting, developing new owners and new partnerships like that, so it's absolutely brilliant. And the other thing as well, we've got so many more competition arenas in this part of the world as well, whereas down south, unfortunately, a lot are being sold for development, so the centres down south are dwindling, whereas up here they seem to be springing up all over the place, which is fantastic.
So, Dad, let's get through to our first lot of questions. We have quite a few questions. We've been quite busy on Facebook. The first one, though, I'm going to take this one to you, is from Sarah, from Saracens. How is your Yorkshire accent?
The accent's not very good, I'm afraid, but I'm trying to work on it.
The only line I can do is from Calendar Girls. Okay, so we have a great question here from Kerry. Did you need to give the horses any time off to settle into our new home when we moved up here?
No, they didn't actually, because most of them are quite used to competing, going up to shows and staying away. So I think they just thought they were going to another show, really, and then suddenly it got longer and longer and longer. But they all settled very well. They all travelled up here extremely well. It was quite a military operation. The house was moved first, and Jill, she came up and stayed at the house first for a few weeks while we were still sorting out the yard at home, and then 3 weeks later we moved the entire yard up in one day, which is quite an epic journey, really, wasn't it, Bobby?
I don't think I've gone up and down that motorway so many times in one day. It was a marathon to move everything, but it worked really well. But we were also incredibly lucky that the house here in Yorkshire was almost just ready for us to move right in, and I think that made a huge difference. I think, Dad, if you asked us to move somewhere where the house wasn't quite right, there was no yard, we may have had a slight conversation, but luckily enough it was great. Mum moved up here, so already started to get a little bit of a routine with the animals and things, so it was really just the horses, and then clearing out Dad's sheds. Who would have known how much stuff was in Dad's sheds until we tried to move? And you know what? He's brought half of it with him, and we're now clearing it out again.
That's not fair.
It is fair. But anyway, right, let's move on. We have another one from Kath Hall, good old Kath, who Dad trains. How long does your competition warm-up usually take, and do you have a different process or activity for each horse? Ooh, Kath.
Okay. Now, each horse has, we try and have the same warm-up process that we do at home, so it's no different from training at home to a competition. Some horses, especially the young ones, they can, especially their first few shows, if they're a bit fresh and a bit wild, they have a little bit longer. But it's an experiment to work out the optimum time, usually sort of half an hour 40 minutes, depending on their fitness and depending on the time of year. If it's cold, they need a bit longer. If it's warm, a hot summer's day, obviously not so much because they get hot quite quickly. And it's just making sure that you warm up enough and leave enough in the tank for the actual test itself.
But we also very much believe that it's important that you have the same routine at a competition than you do at home when we talk about warm-ups. Horses learn by repetition and routine. And we all do it. We all go to a brand new venue with our brand new jacket and saddle on, and then we have a brand new warm-up and then wonder why the horse didn't quite go the same as it did at home. So we religiously make sure that we have a warm-up that we can adapt to situations that we need to, but the horse understands the routine and knows what the next movement is going to be, whether we've had to make it 20 minutes because it's so hot or whether it's 40 minutes because they're a bit sharp.
Yeah.
So again, we've got one from Donna Johnson. Hi both. Question for Paul first. If there was one thing riders could do better to improve their performance score in the competition arena, what would it be? Favourite corners?
I think first is accuracy, because there's a lot of sloppy riding, and I think that for me is the fundamental thing. If you can't ride your lines and you can't ride your shapes properly, then you're not going to get very many marks, because for me that's the basic. Then the corners, and then it's actually the way of going and the suppleness. But I think really a lot of marks are thrown away because people are inaccurate and sloppy, really.
Yeah, I agree. And actually, I also think that the confidence is important. I think if you've practiced enough at home about the accuracy and exactly where the shapes are, you don't second guess yourself in the test.
Exactly.
And we've all done it, those dreaded 15-metre circles. Who really knows where they're supposed to be in that arena? But if you can be at home with your trainer or just by yourself and make sure you know exactly where you're supposed to hit each circle or where the walk exactly is, you don't have those split seconds of panicking, and that panic is when the mistake happens.
Exactly. Then you have more time to concentrate actually on the way of going of the horse, and get the horse swinging through. Then you're not panicking, about where you're going as well as. And
always something that I've done when I go around the arena is a lot of people say to me that they panic as soon as they enter the centre line. They never know if they're going left or right, and they have that split sort of second of panic. I think it's always very important that you have somebody on the outside of the arena that just says to you, you go right. And that's the one thing, or you go left, and that's the one thing you have to remember. You don't have that second guessing panic as you're going around the outside. Donna also has one for me. Have you ever thought about following Paul in the judging side? Maybe in about 20 years, I might decide to do the judging. No, on a serious note, I do like the judges side of things, and at some point I will do, but at the moment there's just a few other things that I want to get qualified in, and at the moment I'm doing sports psychology and things, so once I get those type of things out of the way, all those sort of qualifications I want to get, I'll then move on to the judging.
God help them.
I'll be a lovely judge, everyone's going to have 8s. So, this is from Claire. What attributes does an amateur rider need to succeed and do well in the competition world?
I think the first thing is they need to enjoy themselves and not get too stressed and build barriers that they can't sort of get over. I think a lot of people, build up these big barriers and they can't do this, I'm not good enough, etc., etc. But I think actually what you've got to do is actually, enjoy it, practice, and have fun. So you're a bit more relaxed. I think people get a little bit too stressed out, and then, of course, then their brain goes to mush, and then their bodies don't work, and then the poor horse goes, where have you gone? So I think it's just relax, chill out, and enjoy the sport. Another one from Claire. What is the most common thing you find someone doing when you teach them?
I had to rephrase what she said.
Common thing. I think people sometimes, when they try too hard, they sort of end up blocking you out, so they can't listen to you.
And then they just go large.
And just
continue going large until you can stop.
And I think also sometimes they panic when you sort of trying to do something. And the other thing that they need to do as well, if they don't understand, for God's sake, say something. Because, when you're teaching somebody or training somebody, coaching somebody, if you're not getting feedback, it's really hard to assess whether it's gone in, they understand. So it's really good to have a two-way conversation.
That's really important, because even though we can see, and hopefully we can see what you're feeling, but sometimes that you can have the thing that it feels completely different to what it looks like.
Yeah.
And we're not sat on the horse, you are. So it's crucial that you have the confidence, and hopefully you do have the confidence with your instructor to be able to say, look, actually, this is what I'm feeling. And then we're able to help you in a way that really benefits you, that you can go home and know basically what you're supposed to be doing and you've understood the lesson. I think for me, one of the things I find is that people don't have the confidence to exactly sort of ask or ask why we're doing something, and then they go home and they're not quite sure. So I always make sure that my lessons write down key points that we've spoken about, so they can go back to those key points and really understand why we said what we said at that time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then everybody then is on the same wavelength. But again, it's that communication, I think.
From Nikki Smith, what do you find the most rewarding when coaching?
Rewarding is actually seeing improvement and see how the horse is getting better and the rider's getting better, and just see that combination getting better and better, really, for me.
I love the excitement that you get to witness when they've achieved one of their goals and things like that. And I love that conversation, and we'll all do it. Do you remember 6 months ago when you couldn't even go large, and now look at you, you're running through an elementary? And I think I love that sudden look on their faces when they think, oh yeah,
I've done that, yeah.
Yeah, because you forget, you tick through life every day and you actually forget how far you've come. And I think it's so important to suddenly just pause and talk about where you were 6 months ago or a year ago, because I will tell you now, you would have improved hugely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's what I love. I love that reaction that you get when they suddenly realise, actually, especially when they're having a really hard session that day and the horse isn't quite doing what they're supposed to, you just give them a little bit of a reminder what they were like when we first met.
Absolutely.
And then they suddenly have that realisation dawn on them that actually they've come so far.
Because the sport can get sort of consuming, can't it? And you don't always see the wood from the trees sometimes.
That's a nice little saying there. I appreciate that.
And I just think that sometimes you need to be able to step back and look from the outside and see where you are, and just take a step back and have a look, and then you suddenly realise, yep, I'm getting better.
So this is our last question.
Okay.
By David. So hi, Bobby and Paul. Bobby, how do you like working alongside your father? And Paul, how do you like working alongside your daughter? Oh, and future son-in-law. Well, let's just bear with that. Let's go with me first. I'm very, very lucky to be able to work alongside Dad and be able to have a relationship that I have with Dad. And that's something I know every day. I realise a lot of people don't have the same sort of luxury that I do to have their trainer with them 24/7, which obviously is great. But no, it's brilliant. However much I make him discuss what we're doing and what I'm training, and you're always there and you always make sure you discuss it with me, I think it's very important to talk about what you're thinking at that time with the horse, or what you're feeling, or what your beliefs are at that time in the equestrian world. And I'm very lucky that my dad is very open to talk to me about it, and you'll sit there and it may be an hour's conversation, but you will listen to me, because I think it's very, very important to be able to talk about what you feel, to get an understanding of the sport. And obviously as well, being able to have Dad training, especially with COVID-19, it's been great. He's got nowhere to go, so he's had no choice but to sit and help me. So it's been absolutely brilliant from that part of it all. But no, I am very, very lucky, and it is great. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, and also now, Bobby, it's brilliant having you around, because, you know, all those years of me putting all the training in and things, you know, you've got a very good eye, so it's brilliant to have you in the school, so we help each other a hell of a lot. So, you know, we all need help. So it's great to have Bobby helping me as well, looking at the horses and, you know, keeping my position, you know.
But I'm the one that doesn't answer back. You answer back continuously.
Oh, I don't answer
yes,
back.
You
we have
do.
a conversation about what
There is
I'm
always
feeling.
some remark.
I always get there in the end. But no, it's good. It works really well, and it's just having that someone to bounce off with, and you know, just keep us both on our toes, because we can keep looking at each other while we're riding around. And then we've got some of the horses I'll sit on the floor and help Bobby, and vice versa. And then other times we're riding in the school, you know, concentrating on our own horses, but then we look up at each other and just say, oh, watch that shoulder, or that
chin in, Dad.
Left elbow, Bobby. So things like that. So, you know, it works really well. Yeah, it's just that teamwork. And we're very grateful that we have got a very good team here. We've got a good team of support with the veterinary, the farrier side, you know, our staff, they're amazing. They really work very hard. But they're, you know, hopefully very proud, and what they do. They turn the horses out really well and look after them very well. So we're very grateful for that. And because, without our team behind us, we won't do what we do, really.
No, and it's brilliant now that we've added Andrew into the mix with the young horses. See, Father, I did do well. He could do the young horses. See, I know what I was doing. I was planning ahead. But no, it's great having Andrew that, following on to David's question about your son-in-law joining the team. But I think it's great because he's able to do the young horses, and Andrew really enjoys doing that, which is absolutely brilliant. And then we have this little thing that I'm not allowed to take them off until they're 6 or 7, because that's his part. He loves doing that. He loves training them, loves working with Dad, and we just make sure that we do it in the morning, that we have time scales to when you help Andrew on the younger horses first, and then we work on Dad and I. So everybody's always got the same amount of time with each other and all the same amount of help needed.
Yeah, and it's great because obviously we've got quite a few young horses. We've got a couple of brood mares that we breed a couple of foals each year. And so we've got quite a lot of young ones coming through. And that's the thing, it's a new start for us up here. So we've got some new young horses and new owners, which is great. It's forming all those new partnerships. And so, so it's almost starting again, isn't it, really, with the horses and things. And it's good fun.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's, one of the main things we wanted to do these interviews with you was to realise that people to get to know us a bit more as well, especially up here. And we are approachable. I mean, Dad may look scary if you catch him before 8 a.m. with a cup of tea, but after that, we're very approachable people, and we always want to help, and we always want to work, and we always want to expand our team, don't we? Absolutely. We've always got room for more horses and more owners and more people, because I think, that's what our sport is. It's evolving, isn't it? It's moving with the times and being able to continuously come out and be ready with the next horse for the next competition.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we've had great fun. Well, I've had great fun doing this.
It's been really good.
But we want to say thank you very much for keeping up with all the great comments we've had through the whole Dad's Story chapters of our interviews. And I'm sure in the future there'll be a couple more coming your way with just what we're doing in the current situation and things like that when we start competing again and things. I'm sure we'll do some updates then. But thank you very much, and we hope you can start riding again and get going and training. So we look forward to seeing you all again. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.